He feels like he was wronged by a lot of people around him, and Usher was one of the people that presumably knew what was going on in Justin's life and stood back and said nothing.
Usher is one person who could have understood Justin's point of view because he was a young teen star who became the biggest thing in the world.
Now Meek Mill is stuck in a context he can't escape, because even though Sean Diddy Combs' legal case has ended with conviction and sentence, the fallout is still rippling through everyone connected to that orbit, and instead of letting time distance him from it, Meek keeps pulling himself back into the spotlight. He isn't fading out. He's staying loud, making threats, pushing conspiracy narratives, and turning himself into the center of a story he claims has nothing to do with him. And the more he does that, the more he reinforces the very suspicion he's trying to erase, trapping himself in a cycle where his own actions keep the narrative alive. This is where the question becomes unavoidable. Why does an innocent man react like this? If the rumor is false, if the footnote tied to Sean Diddy Combs has no real substance, then why does Meek Mill respond with threats, bounties, and conspiracy theories instead of calm denial and clarity? Because
Well, sources tell the Daily Mail that Bieber and Usher clashed at an Oscars party recently with Justin's camp, someone anonymously stressing that Usher did not protect Justin Bieber when he introduced him into the world as a child pop star. Whether from a moral perspective or a financial perspective, maybe both, we're not certain, but Justin has struggled with his mental health.
That kind of reaction doesn't signal confidence in the truth. It signals fear that the truth alone won't be enough. And in trying to overpower the narrative, he ends up destroying his own credibility. And that's what makes this bigger than just one person, because Meek isn't the only one who is in that orbit. He's just the one reacting the loudest and most self-destructively, raising a larger question about what happens to everyone else connected to that world now that the system around has collapsed. Because if the situation is any indication, the fallout doesn't end with conviction. It spreads, it lingers, and it starts consuming the very people trying hardest to escape it. While Meek Mill has been publicly damaging his own credibility, a far more unsettling layer sits beneath the surface. Because the same court filing connected to Sean Diddy, Combs didn't just mention names. It included a sworn affidavit from a producer claiming the properties were wired with hidden cameras and recording devices in multiple rooms. And if that statement holds any truth, then the conversation shifts completely away from rumors and reactions to a much darker question. Not who said, what, but what was actually
Combs. Legacy.
I asked that because, when I was researching you, I found this interview from 2015, I believe, or maybe even further, where it was in Philly. It was during your tour, and I'm listening to it, and it said, all of the things that were going on in New York at that time, I quote, I knew better. Maybe it was those valuable lessons in integrity in Tennessee, and furthermore, I knew what the hell I wanted. I didn't want.
What actually happened in those rooms is partially confirmed by insiders. Usher, sent at 14 or 15 by his manager L.A. Reid to live with Sean Diddy Combs for a year to get edgier, described the environment as wild and unsettling, admitting on Howard Stern that he would never send his own children there, which shows even someone who spent a lifetime praising Diddy recognized the risk. Fast forward to Diddy's federal trial on charges, including human trafficking and racketeering conspiracy, held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn with no bail, and evidence, witnesses, and testimonies are now beyond anyone's control, including Will and Jada Smith. Meaning that the truth about who attended those parties and what occurred is inevitably coming out, while Justin Bieber's team preemptively issued a statement, asserting he was not a victim even though no new accusations targeted him, a move that signals awareness of circulating rumors and impending testimonies, implicitly acknowledging that others were harmed and raising the critical question not of whether misconduct occurred, but why Bieber's team felt compelled to publicly deny victimhood before anyone had even suggested it. The supposed denials, Bieber's team insisting he was not a victim, the Smiths framing Jaden's behavior as quirky, and official statements portraying everything as normal, did the opposite of closing the story, because when you line them up against the evidence, the contradictions are overwhelming.
Told from people around Bieber that Usher walked up to Justin with energy and anger, and that's when this argument transpired.
Why am I thinking there's another side to this story?
2009 video of Sean Diddy, Combs describing a 15-year-old Bieber's time with him as a dream he cannot disclose. Usher saying he would never send his own children there. Jaden Smith's legal emancipation. Request at 15, D.L. Hughley publicly claiming Jada Smith sold her son, Bieber photographed looking hollow-eyed and disheveled, and a federal trial currently underway with witnesses who can testify to exactly what happened, all to build a pattern too heavy to ignore. Making the denials feel frantic, the official story seemed like damage control, and raising the unavoidable question. If everything were truly clean, why are these behaviors and pieces of evidence existing? Why are the denials so preemptive? And why do the individuals who live through it act as if there is something to hide?